In the quiet hills of rural Bulgaria, where the wind rustles through sun-bleached grasses and weathered Orthodox churches mark the landscape, a legend was born. Baba Vanga, a blind mystic, lived in a small, humble house in the village of Petric. Yet from this unassuming corner of the world, her name would echo across nations, tangled in stories of war, disaster, and the fate of humanity. Her neighbors called her the Nostradamus of the Balkans, a title she never claimed. Over decades, pilgrims and politicians, scientists and generals climbed the winding roads to her doorstep, seeking answers they could find nowhere else. Baba Vanga's story begins with tragedy. Born in 1911, she was an ordinary child named Vangali Pandava Dimitrova, until a violent storm altered her life forever. At the age of 12, a sudden tornado swept across the plains, lifting her into the air and hurling her into a nearby field. When villagers found her, she was alive, but her eyes were sealed shut by dust, sand, and debris. Blind and broken, she began to perceive the world differently. By her teenage years, people whispered that she could see what others could not. She spoke of lost objects, illnesses yet undiagnosed, and events yet to unfold. Some dismissed her as a country eccentric, others feared her as something far more profound. As Bulgaria descended into the chaos of World War II, Baba Vanga's fame spread beyond her village. Soldiers sought her counsel before heading to the front lines. Grieving families begged her to tell them whether their sons would return. By the late 1940s, even Bulgaria's communist leadership, known for its secularism and skepticism, could not ignore her. High-ranking officials and secret police quietly visited her home, recording her words and analyzing her predictions. Although the Communist Party officially condemned superstition, they made exceptions for a blind woman whose insights, it seemed, often proved correct. Among her most famous prophecies are accounts of global events, some eerily close to reality. Followers claim she foretold the breakup of the Soviet Union, disaster, the 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Center, the rise of ISIS and conflicts in the Middle East, and the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, years before it struck. She reportedly described planes crashing into steel birds, spoke of melting polar caps, and predicted technological leaps unimaginable in her time. Yet as compelling as these prophecies seem, much of what is attributed to Baba Vanga comes from posthumous interpretations, raising questions about whether these predictions were real or retrofitted after the events unfolded. Unlike Nostradamus, whose writings were published and preserved in his lifetime, Baba Vanga left no written records. Her prophecies survived through oral accounts passed down by visitors, relatives, and government records, many of which were classified or fragmented. In the 1990s and 2000s, Bulgarian and Russian tabloids sensationalized her legacy, publishing sweeping lists of predictions for years far beyond her death in 1996. Some claim she foresaw events up to the year 5079, the supposed end of the world. These lists included predictions of alien contact, a Muslim invasion of Europe, and even the cloning of human organs. But researchers found little hard evidence tying these long-range prophecies directly to Baba Vanga herself. What was real, what was myth, and what was the invention of eager journalists seeking to keep her story alive? To understand Baba Vanga's role, one must explore the rich folklore of the Balkans, where prophets, healers, and mystics have long been part of rural life. In Bulgarian tradition, seers, known as prorochici or znachki, were common. Women who, often through hardship or illness, were believed to receive supernatural insight. These mystics were consulted on matters of health, farming, marriage, and war. They blended Orthodox Christian beliefs with pre-Christian Slavic and Thracian traditions, interpreting visions, dreams, and natural signs as messages from beyond. Baba Vanga fit this cultural mold, yet she rose above it, becoming an icon in a modern skeptical world. Her fame spread through the power of mass media, transforming her from a village healer into an international enigma. Throughout her life, several scientific teams attempted to study Baba Vanga's abilities. Bulgarian psychologists and parapsychologists observed her consultations, recording what appeared to be astonishingly accurate readings of strangers' past lives, illnesses, and future hardships. But skeptics pointed out the absence of controlled experiments. Much of what Baba Vanga said could be explained, they argued, through cold reading, vague predictions, and the human tendency to remember the hits and forget the misses. No scientific consensus was ever reached. For believers, she remained a conduit of higher wisdom. For skeptics, an enigma, perhaps sincere, but mistaken.
Not all of Baba Vanga's alleged prophecies materialized, according to popular lists. In 2010, World War III was supposed to erupt. 2016, Europe was said to be a wasteland devoid of life. 2018, China was to become the world's dominant power. A prediction partially true economically, but not in the catastrophic sense implied. These inconsistencies suggest that either Baba Vanga's prophecies were misunderstood, fabricated, or that prophecy itself, fluid and symbolic, defies literal timelines. Her defenders argue that prophecies speak in symbols, not dates. Her critics, that her myth has grown larger than her words.
Beyond the headlines, Baba Vanga lived a quiet, modest life. She never charged for her consultations, though grateful visitors often left gifts. She married a soldier named Dimitar Gushtarov, whose early death left her widowed. She tended her home, kept a small garden, and raised stepchildren. Those who knew her described a woman of humility and humor, who never claimed to be a prophet, only someone through whom visions came. She spoke softly, often pausing as if listening to voices only she could hear. To her, the visions were not a gift, but a burden, an uninvited window into the pain and fate of others. Much of Baba Vanga's modern fame arose after her death. In post-Soviet Russia, struggling with uncertainty and nostalgia for past certainties, her predictions became cultural touchstones. TV shows, documentaries, and tabloid articles portrayed her as a saint-like figure, blending mysticism with patriotism. But as her story spread beyond Eastern Europe, it became distorted. Western media often lumped her with Nostradamus and Edgar Cayce, crafting an image of a universal prophet far removed from her rural Bulgarian roots. In this transformation, Baba Vanga became less a person and more a symbol of human longing for certainty in uncertain times and meaning in chaos. The fascination with Baba Vanga speaks to something timeless. In every culture, in every era, people have sought glimpses beyond the veil of the present. From the Delphic oracle to medieval astrologers, from Nostradamus to modern futurists, humanity has long yearned to know what tomorrow holds. Whether Baba Vanga truly foresaw these events, or whether the stories about her reveal more about our need for hope and explanation, remains part of her mystery. Her story is a mirror reflecting our fears, our hopes, and our endless search for patterns in the chaos of life. Today, Baba Vanga's predictions continue to circulate, with each passing year bringing fresh interpretations. Every new crisis, every sudden disaster, prompts people to dig through her words, searching for warnings they might have missed. But the woman herself is gone. Her small house in Petric stands as a modest museum, visited by curious tourists and faithful admirers alike. In the end, the question of whether Baba Vanga was a true prophet or a media myth may matter less than what her story reveals about us, the eternal seekers of truth, staring into the darkness, listening for a whisper of what's to come. You've just explored another mystery with JB Animated Mysteries. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And turn on notifications so you never miss a story where facts and fiction collide. Until next time, the truth is out there. Keep looking.